All right, so would you rather
permanently sound like you just inhaled helium,
or
text your mom saying help and then don't speak to anyone in your family for a month? That's just cruel. I couldn't do that. I'd have to permanently sound like I just inhaled helium.
Welcome to CelinaRadio.com, recorded right here in Celina, Texas, a quiet little dusty, sleepy town that has absolutely nothing going on. Guys, welcome to another episode of CelinaRadio.com. And like I always like to say, we don't just have a little bit going on here. We've got a ton going on here. And one of the really cool things we've got coming up is the second annual Troubadour Festival. That's right, October the 15th out at Old Celina Park. We're going to do it all again. Now, this year we've got Randy Rogers Band, Wade Bowen, Reckless Kelly, and a lot of other acts. But that's not all that's out there at the Troubadour Festival. Not by far. That's right. They're bringing back the barbecue, baby. And I mean, last year it was amazing. I hate to admit this, but they set up all the booths in a big giant U shape, and I barely made it down one side before I was absolutely stuffed. And it was amazing. It was incredible. And what's also incredible is that we're going to be giving away tickets to this year's Troubadour Festival. And I'm going to tell you how you can win tickets at the end of this episode. But guess what, guys? The Troubadour Festival is not the only awesome thing we've got coming up. We also have our very first Celina 5K. And that happens to be put on by today's guest, Melissa Gresham. Now, you know her because she's been promoting this 5K like crazy. She has tons of sponsors, and it's just going to be an amazing, fantastic event. It happens on January the 14th, also out at Old Celina Park. You're not going to want to miss that. There's a walk if you need to walk. There's also a kids event that's just a 1K. There's all kinds of cool stuff, and she's got all the swag and the bibs with the chips in it so you can have your official time. It's just going to be fantastic. But I'm not going to tell you all about it. I'm going to let her tell you about it. So guys, sit back and let's get started with Melissa Gresham. Guys, I am here right now with somebody that you are going to love to get to know. The reason you're going to love to get to know her is because she is very involved in almost everything to do with Celina right now. And what do I mean? She is putting on an event very soon, and it involves one of the things that I don't love that much, but I respect it. Her name is Melissa Gresham. And did I say it right?
Yes, Ron. Thank you.
Okay, Melissa, tell us what your event is. What do you have going on? I'm seeing it all over the place. Tell us what it is.
It is a Celina 5K, and there's also going to be a kids 1K fun run, and it's not until January. So, Ron, you have plenty of time to train if you do want to get into running. But I'm starting now the planning so that I can get the medals and the T-shirts and all the vendors and sponsors set up, and it will be at Old Celina Park in January.
Old Celina Park in January. So I can promise you that I will be there. I can't promise that I'll actually be out there running, but I will be there for support and that sort of thing. But give me an idea. How has the response been so far from Celina and the different businesses that you've reached out to and things like that? What's the experience so far?
It has been awesome. It took off within the first week. I think this is something the community really wants. We have a lot of runners in Celina. We actually have a running group called Celina Runners that meet on Wednesday evenings and do group runs. And this will be the first organized run in Celina, Texas. I don't think that there's been one with race chip timing established here. So this will be the first organized race that is coming to Celina.
So explain to me exactly how that works. You said a race chip deal? Like, I understand a little bit about that, but explain that to people who don't even know what that means.
So the chip is on the back of the bib. So when you go to race, you want to know your time. You might be competing for a personal record, which we would call a PR, or just racing to finish first, or even an age group award, which is generally in 5 age group brackets. So if you are competing for an age group award or an overall award, you want the chip timing so that it can record your official course time.
Gotcha. So I'm just going to make a guess that since this is the first one, there's a lot of things that you're kind of going through the learning curve right now and kind of figuring out. And then, of course, it gets better the next year and then even better the next year. But how many participants would you expect as of right now for year one?
I decided to cap the race at 250 participants for the 5K and 100 participants for the Kids Fun Run. However, I think I'm going to have to increase that because I'm anticipating it selling out. One of my sponsors, I'm going to consider a corporate sponsor that has asked for some tickets for their employees. So they want to give 20 tickets to their employees to run as well. So that tells me that I'm probably going to have a sold out race and I'll probably need to go up to 300.
Gotcha. So clearly you have a real passion for running. I see your pictures all the time. And we'll get into that in just a little bit about your pictures because I think that's fascinating. But when did you start running? Like, when did this become something that you love to do so much?
I started running in the Army. I joined the military when I was 21, and it's sort of mandatory in the Army. You start at basic training and you're out there at 0500 every day running. And I actually loved it. I loved getting up early in the morning and being out on the roads and running, and I've run ever since.
So give me an idea, like right now, Melissa Gresham gets out on the road. How many miles a day are you running right now?
Well, I'm recovering from an injury right now, but that's not going to be
you're
forever.
Down to like what, 10 or 20 miles a day or something?
No, maybe a week. But generally, I like to stay around 30 miles a week. That's a good mileage for how many races I train for and the distance I train for. I generally do half marathons, and 30 miles a week is a good number to train for half marathons.
And you are a Celina resident. You love Celina. We've talked a little bit, and Celina is what you call home. So give me an idea, like, where's a great place to run in Celina right now? Because we don't have all the trails and stuff that we're going to have just yet. So where do you run in Celina right now?
I run everywhere. I love to run at Old Celina Park. I run downtown in the morning. There's nobody down here. They play country music on the square, so I can lap the square several times if there's a good song on. I love to run at Bobcat Stadium, the track. DC Ranch has some flat streets. I look for places without hills. I go out west of the high school, out in the country. I have a friend that I park at her house, and I get to run out there with the cows and the horses. But I love nature, so I love to be out in the country and running where there's really not much distraction.
I gotcha. And so how long have you been in Celina? Have you guys been here for a long time, or did you just recently move here? What's your tenure in Celina so far?
We moved here about 10 years ago. I'm originally from Beverly, Ohio, and I met my husband in the military. He is a native Texan. He grew up in Dallas. So as a native Texan, you will live nowhere but Texas. So when we got married, when we were in the military, we moved back here, and Celina is where we landed.
How did you guys get to the point where you said, all right, Celina is where we need to go? Is there some story about how you discovered Celina? Did you know someone living here? How did you get to Celina, Texas?
We didn't know anybody living here. Most of his family still lives in McKinney. We just visited the town. We were looking at different homes, and we loved the square. We loved the small town feel. Brookshire's, we went to Brookshire's and did some shopping and decided that this is where we wanted to live, just the small town feel of it.
Absolutely. And Celina is a very dynamic and growing city right now. One of the things that I'm kind of known for asking people is, how do you feel about all the growth? Because somebody put it to me in a really unique and interesting way the other day. They said, everybody wants to get here and then say, all right, like, close the door now. Let me be the last one in. And they want to kind of lock it down where we're at right now. How do you feel about all the growth?
It's There's definitely mixed emotions about that. I mentioned I love to run out in the country, and that's disappearing. The main places that I run, I've seen the developments are coming, so I'm going to lose those running trails. So I don't like that. I will miss the small town feel, but I love opportunity, and I think with the growth comes opportunity, and we're just going to see more and more events and businesses and great things coming to Celina. So I welcome the opportunity, but we'll still cherish the memories.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that the city seems to be doing really well is they're trying to hold on to that whole downtown, keeping that downtown vibe and small town thing going and all that. So it's almost like we know everything is growing, everything's coming this way. But I personally feel like if they can keep that downtown kind of how it is right now, that we're going to be okay. Like, that's going to get us through all this growth. What do you think about the downtown?
I love the downtown. That's one of my favorite places to go in the afternoon when I need my afternoon coffee. I go to Summer Moon and I get a Whisper Moon with 2 pumps of sugar-free hazelnut, if anybody is interested.
You've got to tell me what a Whisper Moon is. That's one I do not know.
It's just the smallest version of the Summer Moon that they put in it, the moon milk that they put in. Whisper Moon is the smallest amount of.
I do understand what moon milk is. Unfortunately, that stuff is very addictive. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's fantastic. So basically, what is that? Just coffee with just a little bit of that moon milk? Is that kind of what that boils down to?
Yep, that's correct. I'm a calorie counter, so I have to go with lower calories and the sugar-free hazelnut.
And she's got one in her hand right now. She just held it up and let me see it. So that's awesome. Tell me, what else do you love on the square down there? We've got so many businesses. We've got Lucy's. We've got the Papagayos, the Mexican food restaurant. We've got all kinds of things going and growing in Celina. But what else do you like to do on the square as far as food? Like, give me another restaurant you love.
So I do love Lucy's. I like to eat there. They have a good chicken salad. And you can also find me shopping at Annie Jack and Willow House. Give
me an idea. If you go into Lucy's, what kind of things do you like on their menu? Because you said you're a calorie counter. So if you're going in there and you're being careful, what do you order?
They have great salads. There's one salad with some strawberries in it. I can't remember the name of it, but I love their salads.
And if you're going in there and maybe having a cheat meal or something like that, what might you order?
Probably a cheeseburger with French fries. And you can't forget that they have the best coffee from Celina Coffee Roasters.
Oh, wow. That's very, very good. That's awesome. And of course, we've got new businesses coming to the square. And I know you know that Swirls is coming in. And of course, their claim to fame is the cinnamon rolls. And then you've got Granny's coming in over there. And of course, that's Michaela Everson. And her claim to fame is the cakes. So are you going to make an exception and allow yourself to have a cinnamon roll and maybe one of Michaela's cakes? Are you going to be able to do that?
So that's a great question, Ron. Thank you for asking that, because Swirls Bakery has sponsored 250 cinnamon rolls to all 5K finishers.
Wow.
So I will definitely be eating a cinnamon roll after that race.
So they're actually a sponsor of your event, and they're going to provide 250 cinnamon rolls?
To the 5K finishers, yes.
That is crazy. That's awesome. So now, see, I have new incentive. So maybe, no, I'm really not. I'm not going to run. This body's running days are kind of behind me. But like I said, I'll be there to cheer and support. So give me an idea of something that we, you know all these things that are coming to Celina, but what are we missing in Celina right now? Is there anything that you can think of, like, boy, if we just had this, or if we just had that?
Other than the 5K?
Of course, the 5K. What about maybe a business or anything? Is there any businesses, like, would you love to have a Walmart here, a Target, or is there something like that, you know what, I know, it's coming. This is what I want.
That's a tough question. Everything that I want is here. I like boutiques, I like coffee shops, and I like running.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you. Celina's doing just fine, kind of on the track it's on right now. And you mentioned that when you run through the square that they play the country music. Are you a fan of country music?
I listen to everything. My playlist ranges from Bring It Out by T.I. to some gospel music by Alan Jackson.
So I've got a few other random questions here that we're going to kind of intermix in that are kind of fun. So I'm going to ask you some more, like who you are. Everybody likes to know the person behind the name, and they see you all over Facebook. They see you over. By the way, how can people find you on social media right now? So I know you've got a Facebook page, but give us all your social media, website, any of that stuff that you want to share.
I primarily use Facebook and Instagram. So Melissa Gresham on Facebook and Instagram. My Run Celina page is simply Run Celina on Facebook and Instagram. I do have a web page for Run Celina. It pretty much mirrors the Facebook page because I've pulled everything over from that to stick it on the website. But the registration site for the race is on my website as well as the Facebook page.
Gotcha. So you're fairly easy to find out there. And let me get into some of these questions right now. Now, one thing that you and I share in common, actually I share it more in common with your husband, but you have the connection, is law enforcement. And so if you don't mind me saying, your husband is actually a law enforcement officer right now. And I was in law enforcement for many, many years. Left that, got into fitness. I know I don't look like it right now. I owned a bunch of gyms, did all that stuff, and then ultimately came back full circle to where I started, which is real estate. But give me an idea of what it's like being married to a law enforcement officer these days. Is it easy? Is it a tough life? What's it like? Because, the world's changed a lot, and it's not always the friendliest place for cops.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot that's happened in the last couple years regarding the police community. I think we're fortunate to be in Texas. I see the leadership in his department really supports the officers. That's not the case in a lot of agencies, and that's sad. I think our public and our city council really supports our law enforcement. Again, that's another good thing that we have in Texas that other states might not have. But I was military, so I know what it's like to have to work the night shift. I know what it's like to be delayed and have to work on a report for hours and not come home on time and miss dinner with your family, miss sporting events with your kids. So I definitely understand that. And I think our marriage is really a partnership when it comes to that, because I know the demands that type of job puts on a family. And I also share that with my kids so that they don't get disappointed or frustrated that he has to miss something.
So I'm curious. This is where one of those kind of fun questions kicks in right here. What's your best tip for making the world a better place?
I think in the spirit of Life Connected in Celina, you get involved and you pursue your passion, whatever that is, whatever you're good at. I think if you go after it and work hard, that ultimately the results of that will make the world a better place.
I'm curious, if you could sit down and have dinner with 3 people from history, and it doesn't matter, they could be famous, not famous, could be family members, could be, whomever, 3 people from history, who do you invite to sit down with you and have dinner?
Jesus.
Okay, I like that. That's good.
General Petraeus.
Wow, good one.
Sun Tzu.
Wow. What an interesting set of answers. I like that. So now you've got to pick one of them. Pick one for me. Just randomly pick one of those people.
Well, of course, Jesus.
Okay, pick Jesus. You're going to take him to Lucy's, okay? No, you're not going to take him to Lucy's. You're going to take him to Summer Moon. What kind of drink are you going to order for him at Summer Moon?
The Whisper Moon Latte.
The Whisper Moon Latte.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. And I think you might get a little inside connection right there to get a little help for some good weather and stuff like that for your event on that day. That might be something to kind of talk about. But what other things would you like to talk about with those people sitting at your table? Like what kind of things would you want to discuss with them? You've got them for an hour. You can bring up anything you want. What do you ask?
I tend to ask a lot of philosophy questions. You've seen my bio, so I obviously did my dissertation and had a good philosophy with that. So I think you can relate anything if you have a good concept and foundation on life. So I would ask those types of questions and try to in some way make it applicable to whatever I'm doing and whatever I'm giving back.
So what is it in life that you think has made you have this kind of wisdom at just 42?
I think the best decision I ever made was to join the Army. I think that teaches a skill set that you can't get in college. It gives you life experiences that you would not get if you stayed here in the States. I think the deployments allowed me to see what it's like in different countries and make you really appreciate what you have here in America and in Celina, Texas, and just generally a better understanding of how the world works and allows you to make better decisions.
So give me an idea. I want to talk a little bit about your military past, your background, and that sort of thing. So what did you actually do when you were in the Army? What was your MOS? If for people that don't understand that, what was your specialty? What was your job?
I was a helicopter pilot. I flew the Kiowa Warrior, which is a little reconnaissance attack helicopter. It's a little Bell Jet Ranger.
And was that your first choice when you went in? Or in some cases, as we know, you say, I want to be this, and they say, no, you're going to be this. Was that your first choice, or was that something they told you were going to do?
It was my first choice, but I did not pass the exam the first time. So a good lesson on failure. If you fail something the first time, you just keep going. So what I did is I joined the Army as a military intelligence analyst, and I did that to get the security clearance so that it would be easier for me to transition into a helicopter pilot later. So you have to wait 6 months. I waited 6 months, retook the test, studied, retook the test, and passed it. And that's how I got into flight school after coming in as enlisted in military intelligence first.
Very good. What a great story. And and certainly don't share anything that you can't. And that's completely understandable. I've worked in some different positions where even to this day I can't talk about certain aspects of certain things that I was involved in. So I respect that, and I think everybody else will too. But where all were you deployed that you can tell us about?
I went to Iraq. I was in Kirkuk, Iraq. And I was in Afghanistan twice. The first time I was in Kandahar, Afghanistan, and the second time I was in Bagram. And those spaces are pretty big. And of course, I'm a pilot, so we're flying all over the place. So the areas that we covered at Bagram and Kandahar, particularly in Afghanistan, were pretty wide.
So give me an idea from those places. What's something that you found intriguing or fascinating about that part of the world?
That is a beautiful country. Afghanistan is gorgeous. I think they're very resourceful. I remember flying in the mountains and there's nothing for as far as you can see. But these people are living in these mud huts and they're growing crops up mountains, and they've cut stairs in the mountains to have a space flat enough to grow their crops on. So the most resourceful group of people I've ever seen, and it's amazing what they can accomplish with nothing.
And it's like you said, it's very beautiful part of the world for all of the problems and all the conflict that we all know takes place in some of parts of the country. It's still gorgeous country, and I think that's very, very interesting. So when you were there, was there anything in particular that you missed about home that just kind of stands out to you? You're like, gosh, when I was there, let me just tell you, I wanted this, or I wanted to see this, or I wanted to have that. What was it that you missed a lot when you were in country, so to speak?
Well, the first is obviously my daughter. I got 4 months with her. New moms get 4 months with their infants before they have to deploy. So I obviously missed my baby because I left her. So that was the main one. On a lighter note, I missed milk. There was no milk. There was shelf life milk, which does not taste good. And I love to drink milk. So I missed that the most, and you couldn't get it shipped to you. So I was at a loss for a year.
It takes an awful lot to do and accomplish what you've done. And I agree, going back to that, what I asked you a while ago, like what makes you as wise as you are at only 42 years of age? Certainly that has an awful lot to do with it. But, as usual, we're not going to just stay on serious stuff. We're going to have a little fun as well. So I told you we weren't going to use these. These are some cards. It's a game. But what it really boils down to is this is Would You Rather. And our daughters know each other, and I play this game quite often with my daughter. You may have played this with your daughter as well. They always do the would you rather, and then it's like whatever they can dream up. But these are actually already printed on cards, so you get to kind of select your own destiny here. They're in no particular order. I'm going to mix them up a little bit, and so you get to draw 2 cards, and what it is would you rather, and then it's the first card, or the second card. So all right, so let's start. Would you rather, just choose one. Would you rather, and you have to read it.
Live the rest of your life without your thumbs.
Or
have arms for legs. I would rather live the rest of my life without my thumbs than have arms for legs.
Because you couldn't run if you had arms for legs. So yeah, you can make it without your thumbs. You may not get to text much, but that's good. All right, let's do another one. So would you rather, she's drawn a card.
Always feel like you need to sneeze, but you can't.
Or
lose 1 tooth per year until they're all gone. I would rather always feel like I need to sneeze but can't because I need my teeth.
So when I see you in Lucy's, and it's that way, I'm going to be, no, she always looks like that. I don't know why she looks like she needs to sneeze, but she just doesn't. I don't know what it is. And it's weird because she has no thumbs. So, but I heard she was a great helicopter pilot. So, all right, let's do another one. Would you rather
never speak to the last person you texted ever again? That would be you,
that's
Ron.
Me.
That's
it.
Me.
Okay, this may be easy. Or let's see.
Always be running 30 minutes late. I can't be late, so I would rather never speak to you again, Ron. That's the military.
It was good knowing you for the short time that I've known you, and I'm sad that with your no thumbs that you're not going to be able to text me anymore. But right now, the real estate market is very unpredictable. There's still houses out there selling for more than they probably should, and then other homes that are sitting on the market and not selling at all. So it's very confusing for people right now, and I understand that, and I have a pretty good grasp on exactly what's going on in every one of those situations. Typically, homes are overpriced by somewhat overzealous real estate people. And a lot of times the homes are not really ready for market just yet. So you've got this weird thing going on out there right now. And it's, like I said, it's confusing. If you want some help navigating this market from someone who actually lives in Celina, knows this market, and cares an awful lot about property values here, give me a call at 214-783-5440, or you can reach me at ron@ronlyons.com. And we won't have any obligations. There's no pressure. There's never anything like that whatsoever. I actually have a very good reputation in this town, and I want to keep that. But I'd love to talk to you about any questions you have regarding this real estate market. Heck, I'd like to talk to you about just about anything. So give me a call or shoot me an email and let's talk. Okay, I think we're on a roll here. And the good news is I don't feel like a bad guy now because you're drawing your own cards.
That's true.
All right. So would you rather
permanently sound like you just inhaled helium
or
text your mom saying help and then don't speak to anyone in your family for a month? That's just cruel. I couldn't do that. I'd have to permanently sound like I just inhaled helium.
So not only do you not have thumbs, and I never get to hear this helium voice because you're not speaking to me anymore.
That's true.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. We're going to do one more. Okay, so let's make it a good one. Would you rather
never be able to touch another person again?
This is rough.
Have your nose positioned upside down on your face? Ron, I'm an introvert. So I'm going to have to go with have the nose upside down so that I don't have to talk to people.
I want to see a picture of you with your no thumbs and your nose upside down in your helium voice.
Not talking to you.
not talking to me, jogging through Celina, Texas. It's awesome. Well, Melissa, it has been amazing. Thank you very, very much for this. We look forward to your race. We're going to be promoting it on the show, and I would encourage everyone to go out there and check it out. You're on Facebook. You've got the website. You've got a lot of sponsors, and it's just going to be an amazing event, and we're going to throw our support behind it 100%. And guys, if you don't know Melissa, she doesn't actually have a helium voice, and she's a super sweet, super nice person. Would you be willing to come back on the show again after the event, and let's kind of get into how it went, what you learned, what you loved, what was rough, and what we're going to do next year?
Absolutely. I'd love to.
All right, guys, that is Melissa Gresham. All right, guys, so what did you think about Melissa Gresham? Pretty awesome when we have people right here in Celina, Texas that served, went overseas as a helicopter pilot. I mean, come on, serious stuff. Married to a police officer and decides to take it upon herself to do Celina's very first 5K. The thing I didn't tell you, the thing we didn't talk about during the interview is that her organization, Run Celina, actually benefits the Celina Community Police Foundation. That's pretty awesome. As a former cop myself, I love that. I think that's amazing. So guys, if you don't know Melissa Gresham, get to know her. She's got a lot of great sponsors for her 5K that's coming up. And remember, that is January the 14th of 2023 at Old Celina Park. And we're going to talk about it a lot more between now and then. And I'm going to be out there doing live remotes, broadcasting from there, and just kind of overall being present. Now, about those Troubadour tickets. If you want a chance to win those tickets, you've got to go down to the bottom of the CelinaRadio.com page, push the little blue microphone button, and leave me a voice message as to why you deserve those tickets, how you're going to use them, how you're going to celebrate the Troubadour Festival, and all of that fun stuff. Now, if you want some extra credit, share this episode of CelinaRadio.com on your social media. I look forward to hearing all of the messages and finding out who wants these tickets really badly. Now, we've got some amazing people coming up on future episodes, including Jason Lahmer, the city manager, Wendy Wigington, who is on Celina City Council, and a handful of other guests that you're just gonna love. So guys, do me a favor, share this on your social media, tell everybody about it, and most importantly, come back again next week for the next episode. And guys, like I always say, God bless, and we'll see you on the next episode.